Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles, and I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators really take their results to the next level. Or I'm actually going to phrase it into the effectiveness level. Because what we often find is that people can be delivering strategies or using strategies as part of their workshop facilitation that may just not be working for them. And so in today's video, I'm actually going to talk to you about a topic that I was asked about from one of my coaching clients, or one of my previous students actually went through one of my courses and gained a lot of knowledge, but was yet to really have a breakthrough. And what I mean by that is she was delivering some content, but she was finding that her audience members were not engaging in what she was actually doing. And she called me up and said, what do I do about this? How do I shift the engagement, or how do I shift the dynamic, so to speak? Because I've got deadpan students. They're just not giving me anything. It's like pulling teeth. Now, I don't know if you can relate to that as a trainer, presenter, facilitator, coach, mentor, whatever you want to call yourself, where you've been delivering to an audience and they've just been cold-faced, stoned. They just haven't given you much at all to give you, really content to create your lesson with, or to really create the learning experience. And so today's video is titled, How Do You Engage the Deadpan Student? How do you really make them come alive, so to speak? Now, this is a topic that every single trainer, presenter, facilitator, coach, mentor is going to deal with in one shape or form as they develop in their career and as they progress in their training journey. So highly recommend that you grab a pen, get ready to write, because these insights I want to share with you are critically important. And if you get these insights implemented, you're going to find the dynamic radically shifts and your results will radically improve. All right. So this person asked me the question, basically, lovely person. She asked me the question, what do I do? I've been asking questions to the group, but they're just not responding. They're just looking at me. No one's putting up their hand. No one's getting involved. What do I do? So there's a couple of things that I shared with her, and I want to share them with you as well. So first thing I asked her was, I asked her the question, how much pair work are you doing? And she wrote back, said, pair work, what do you mean? And what we need to appreciate is, it's very typical response, but the challenge that she was facing, or I guess the inherent challenge, was she was showing PowerPoints, click, 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 click. And it was a monologue. It was a one-way experience, right? And all of the pressure was on her to deliver the content and make the experience. And if you want to actually create engagement, you need to make the mindset shift. That's the first thing I really want to encourage you to write down. The mindset shift. Now, the mindset shift is going from I created and I am the sole source of truth to they are the sole source of truth. And the session, the lesson, the workshop is coming from them, not from you. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, we are putting the pressure back on them. We are throwing the energy back on our participants. And as soon as you do that, everything will change, right? So the first thing is throw the energy back on them. Now, here's the thing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to get your audience working harder than you do. And you need to be throwing the onus responsibility back on the participants. So how do we do that? Now, here's some ninja stuff. So first thing I'm going to recommend that you do is within the first 30 seconds to a minute to even 2 minutes, I really recommend that you use the expression, grab a pen and write this down. Grab a pen and write this down. Grab a pen and write this down. Because what you need to realize is that energy begets energy. So if you want to create momentum in a room, or high levels of energy and positivity, you need to get your audience doing something. So I highly recommend within the first 3 minutes, you need to be saying to your audience, grab a pen and write this down. Quickly write this down. Here is my mobile number, or here is my email, or here is an important fact that you need to know about this course. Could be anything at all. I don't care what you get them to write it down, but you need to get your audience to write something down. That is the secret, folks. Get them to write something down and say it with urgency. Grab a pen and write this down. Critical fact, quickly write this down. All right. Now, it's a bit of a ninja hack because as soon as you get people doing something, that is going to kind of secretly kind of imply that energy is going to happen in the room. Action is going to be taken, right? So grab a pen and write it down. You want to be coming up with something that they can write down within the first 3 minutes. And the quicker you do that, the better, right? So that's the first thing. If you want to get engagement, you need to get them doing something. Next thing, after they've written something down, next thing is ideally very soon after, maybe you set the ground rules. And oh, by the way, when you are setting the ground rules, get them to write the ground rules down as well. All right. So mobile phones on quiet, one person shares at a time, because as we all know, we want to respect everyone's opinion, come back from breaks on time because we want to maximize our time. Go through your ground rules and get them to write the ground rules down, folks. Get them to write it down. All right, critically important. And then hint, nudge, get them to read the ground rules to each other. But that's just a bit of a secret thing. Don't need to do that if you don't want to be too advanced, right? But next piece. Ideally, within the same 3 to 5 minutes, you want to get people to stand up. Yes, get them to stand up, right? Because what we said earlier is that energy begets energy, and movement creates movement and energy in our room. And the longer you have audience members saying sitting down and staying stagnant, the longer the energy in the room stays stagnant. So what I highly recommend that you do is, as quick as possible, get them to stand up and do your icebreaker. Now, your icebreaker could be anything like go and meet someone, and let's say you're talking about leadership. Go and meet someone, tell them your name, and in your life, who was the quintessential leader that you've come across, and why were they a great leader, right? Go and set them a task and get them standing up and get them to go and meet someone, but meet with purpose, right? So set them a question that actually relates to the topic that you're about to go into. Don't do the ridiculous icebreaker of go and meet someone, tell them your name and why you've come along to the course, and tell them something interesting about yourself. That is the worst icebreaker that you could ever do. I've done another video on that. We won't go into why it's a bad icebreaker now on this video, but that's a really stupid icebreaker, right? Don't do that one. Or don't do the other icebreaker where you get everyone to stand up and talk about themselves for 1 minute. Another bad icebreaker. I've talked about that in another video. Don't do that one either. So get them standing up and get them doing a task on purpose, but do it within the first 5 to 10 minutes. Because as soon as they realize that they're going to stand up and they're going to do something, suddenly energy begets energy, which creates engagement, right? Next thing you want to do, throughout your session, you want to have more moments of standing up and moving around the room. So that could be like, all right, we've just done an activity together in pairs. Oh, did I say it? In pairs. Then you get them to stand up and you get them to move and work with someone else. And then they've worked with someone else for 5 minutes, then they go move and then work with someone else. Then they move and work with someone else. And then move and work with someone else. Now, it seems so simplistic, but it's the change that makes the difference. It's the change that creates the engagement. And what we find is that maybe you have some quiet people. Well, suddenly they're moving around the room and they're working with different people and they're slowly opening up. On the flip side, maybe you got some really loud people and maybe they're walking around the room or they're moving and working with different people. And then they have an experience of working with a quieter person. Or maybe you have a difficult participant and what you're doing is essentially moving them around the room as well. And they're suddenly realizing, I need to play the game. I need to play along because everyone else is, right? That was a bit of a ninja hack. But what we need to realize is that the more you actually create movement in the room and actually create variety, what does that look like? Maybe they're doing individual work, but another time they're doing pair work, and another time they're working with someone else, and another time they're working in a group of 3, another time they're doing something else. But you've got to realize it's the variety that makes all the difference. Now, let's go to how do we actually deliver content. Maybe you've got a piece of content around, all right, let's go with leadership qualities. Maybe you've got a slide around teaching leadership qualities. So maybe you go, instead of, oh, here's a slide, here's the top 10 qualities of a good leader, right? That would be average, folks. That would be like amateur shit, right? Here's a slide. I'm going to show you the slide and then talk about the slide, right? That's just kind of amateurish, folks. We don't do that. Instead, what you want to be doing is you're going to go, all right, folks, you guys are a group of two, you guys are a group of two, you guys are a group of two, oh, you guys are a group of three. And what you do is you then go, okay, cool. You guys would like you to come up with 3 qualities of a great leader that you can think of, and please share with each other what is an example or a time when you've seen that leadership quality in action. You are gonna then assign that activity to every single person. You're gonna give approximately 2 minutes, and you're going to make sure that you don't give them any longer than that, and you're going to create rapid fire. And this is the other piece around keeping people engaged. You've got to create a sense of urgency and momentum, because you don't want your activities lasting too long. Because as soon as someone goes, oh, I can just sit here and the activity is going to go 5 minutes or 10 minutes. No, there needs to be some sense of urgency and quick momentum, right? So then what do you do? Okay, great. What did you guys come up with? What did you come up with? What did you come up with? What did you come up with? Awesome, fantastic. And now everybody share your example instance when that was actually shown to you. All right, you do a group debrief. So now here's a slide on what research is showing has been the most common traits of an amazing leader. And within your organization, what is one way that you could demonstrate that going forward as a great participant or great leader within this organization? Now, what I've just described to you is so simplistic, so easy to do, but we find when we first step up to present, we think it's all on us. We think we have to do all the work. We think it's all about us. We think it's all about the magic and beautiful slides. But what we need to realize is if you want the Deadpan student to open up and be engaged, what you kind of need to create engagement. Well, you kind of need to create an atmosphere where it's do the work or else, do the work or else, do the work or else. And when you create that momentum in a room, suddenly they go, oh, wow, maybe I actually need to participate. Maybe my level of participation is actually going to impact other people as well. Okay, so a couple of things from this video here, folks. Number one, definitely get them taking action as quick as possible. Grab a pen and write this down. Grab a pen and write this down. Think of something. It could be anything at all. Right? I really don't care what you get them to write down. Ideally, it's going to be something related to the topic. Ideally, it's going to be your contact details, right? But maybe you've already given that out, so maybe you come up with something else. Grab a pen and write this down, right? The quicker you get them to write something down, the more they're going to be engaged. Next piece, get them standing up and stand up quickly within the first 5 minutes. Next, ground rules, getting them to write it down. That's an advanced thing, right? So it's not too advanced, but most people don't do it, but it's such a powerful thing to do, right? Next one, get the momentum in the room by creating change. Get them into pairs, then get them working with someone else, then someone else, then someone else, and sitting in different places. It's the change that makes all the engagement happen, right? And then the last piece is momentum. And how do we create momentum? We do it by creating short, sharp activities that are very sharp and short in nature. And people are like, oh, okay, that was an intense 2 minutes. Oh, that was an intense 5 minutes. So that was an intense. And the time frames that you give for activities are very short. All right. So hopefully from this video, I'm kind of giving you some ninja hacks on how you can really create powerful engagement on particularly audiences that may or may not want to be there, and audiences that may be a little bit reserved and maybe asking themselves, why am I here? What's in it for me? Or maybe I've already done this content 1,000 times. What more am I going to get out of it? We often find that as well in trainings and workshops, right? So you need to go into the room, you need to own the room, and you need to create that momentum and that engagement by just doing these simple things that I've shared with you today. On that note, folks, hope you got some value from the video. And if you did get some massive value, just drop in a comment what really stood out to you. But as always, like, comment, share, let's get this out there. And really want to encourage you, own the room, be proud of who you are, be proud of your content, but remember it all comes back to your willingness to put the pressure and the expectations, the onus back on the audience to give it to you. You're not there to give it to them, if that makes sense, right? So on that note, folks, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one.